let me get back to the El Salvador president. He has been told by the IMF, stop using Bitcoin, or we're not going to guarantee your loans. We may not get you loans. If El Salvador caves, that's not good for Bitcoin, because this is the kind of pressure that the banks are going to be using on you and everyone else. You play by our rules, or you don't play ball. You go ahead, try to survive without the banks. And that's what they're doing to El Salvador. So he's reading a story about New York City, and he's reading a story about how another Rite Aid has closed due to incessant shoplifting. And this is happening in all the big Democratic cities because they're not prosecuting people, and unless it's over $1,000. And so people are going into these Rite Aids, and they know exactly what's on the shelf, and a whole group of them will go in, and each of them will take no more than $1,000. And then they just walk out, and nobody can do anything about it. These Rite Aids are just, imagine being an employee at one of these Rite Aids. You never know if anybody's going to get violent or not. So they're closing them. So he writes, is there a deliberate plan to destroy the United States from within? Why are the authorities and some of the media not even commenting on these things? Why are they letting their beautiful cities rot? This is the guy from El Salvador. Now, if you pay attention and you're not part of this lefty cult, and that, let's be honest, that's what it is. It's not Marxism. It's not even the Great Reset. It's a cult. You will obey the leaders. You will parrot what they say. You will not engage your own thinking. You will not engage. They're your kids. Are they your kids? We're telling you to vaccinate your 8-year-old because it's very important that you vaccinate. That's where they're going. You have to have your kids wear a mask. Well, but the masks don't do anything. We know that. Did you hear me? Your kids will wear a mask because it's the moral and right thing to do. But I thought we were supposed to follow this. You will have your children wear masks. When you obey, what are you in? A cult? Because you buy into it? Or are you in it just because you're afraid? You're not in it because it makes sense, because it doesn't make sense anymore. Why are our cities rotting? Because there is a plot to destroy the United States and to destroy our economy, to destroy us as a people. See, that's the greatest loss. You can take all of America's money. I've always felt America was a lot like the Titanic, the greatest ship ever built, and it was unsinkable. Well, that's the way we've always felt about America. It's the greatest place, and nobody's going to take it down. Abraham Lincoln was right. To destroy America, it has to be destroyed from within. Well, yep, he's right, and that's exactly what's happening. And I don't want to save the Titanic because it's the greatest ship ever built. I don't want to save the Titanic because look at all the great dishes. I'm perfectly willing to just make sure we have enough lifeboats, because as long as we have the people, as long as we're all together and we're good, we're going to be great even if we're very poor. We're going to be great, and we'll rebuild another ship that won't sink. We'll learn from our mistakes, but we're not even allowed to discuss our mistakes. When it comes to the experts, they tell you one thing, and they say you cannot argue with it. You're a denier if you say global warming is not happening. Well, they got to a point to where the lie was so obvious that they had to say, what? Global cooling? They couldn't say global cooling because that might change. So they had to say what? Global climate change. That's broad enough. If the temperature's going up, temperature's going down, it's all part of climate change. Do you forget that's when they changed it? Do you forget that it was like 10 years where it wasn't warming? That's when they changed it, not before, after they had no place to go. It's this over and over and over and over again. And if somebody in El Salvador is watching, because the rest of the world, they're watching. The eyes of the world are upon us. And some of them are watching with envious eyes. Some of them have been viewing us from afar with real envy because they want what we have. But I think a greater majority of the world is looking at us saying, when are you guys going to wake up? We can't keep importing the stuff that you're shipping over to us because the stuff you're shipping over to us are lies. And it's poisoning our societies too. We don't want any part of that. They're soon going to say, we're shipping all of your dollars back because you've devalued them. But millions of people, let's include China, billions of people, look to us as hope. But they all are thinking the same thing. When will they wake up and remember who they are? That's the best thing about this. You don't have to learn anything. You just have to remember who you are. You have to remember what you learned. As a child, you knew what racism was. You know it. Don't deny it. Don't parrot the new definition of racism. It's a lie. It is racist itself. Well, I'm not going to be a racist. And they'll call me a racist for saying that, but I know the truth. And I know that lies collapse on themselves. And they collapse early on, easily. And the longer they stick around, the harder they fall. But they do collapse. I'm not going to be a part of it. I won't deny it. And I remember who you are. I remember who I am. I'm somebody that can, if I set my mind to it, I can accomplish anything. You are too. What happened to that American spirit? It is asleep in most of us. And it went to sleep because we were comfortable. And now maybe we're not so comfortable. And when we're uncomfortable, we don't reach for the American spirit. Unfortunately, too many reach for anger because they did it to us. Reach for the American spirit. Reach for, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm just not. I love you, everything else. God bless you. But I can't live in this world and where you're pretending I'm the bad guy. I haven't changed. I am for the Bill of Rights as written. That has always been the noble stand. That has always been the right thing to do. So what's the right thing to do right now? Stand up proudly, square your shoulders, declare yourself an American. And an American does not mean racism. It doesn't mean global capitulation. It means that we are for the rights of all mankind. Once we get there, everything will fix itself.